Welcome back to another episode, guys. Thank you for watching. Today we're going to be talking about our 992 GT3 Roll Bar. If you guys have been following us for a while, first thanks. But we did post a video when we released the 992 roll cage a couple years ago when the car just came out. But today we've got a GT3 here. So the cage itself is exactly the same on all 992s, whether it's a GT3, 911, Carrera, C4S, 992 Turbo. But yeah, let's go look at the cage and some of the features that we include on our design. So oddly enough, all the local 992 installs we've done, all of the cages customers have chosen yellow for the cage. But anyway, moving forward, the cage is all made from 1.75 inch tubing. So what we've seen on some other designs is that you know, some of the tubing, the crossbars and the harness bars are a little smaller diameter. For us, we think that running the same tubing all around is more symmetrical, and it just gives it a beefier look, whether you're looking at the cage from inside the car or whether you're seeing it from outside. So one of the most distinctive features we have on all of our cages is our proprietary tubing clamps. And what makes them so unique and special is that we have all of these clamps, this piece and this piece, specifically machined for every application that we offer. So the reason we take the extra step to do that is because this connection between the rear section and the main hoop obviously is very important. It's the top of the pyramid. It's what keeps everything structurally sound if in case there was an impact. So the reason we have it specifically machined for every chassis is because normally you'd buy a generic tubing clamp and then weld it to the side of the tube. Same thing for the other side. And then some clamps aren't even toothed. So, you know, that being the first feature, but the real main distinctive feature of our tubing clamps is that this is a solid piece. So rather than having an extra weld on this connection, we're able to save that by having them machined specifically at length with a solid rod instead of a hollow tube to provide that structural rigidity connecting the main hoop and the rear section. Another nice feature that we include on our cages is obviously our mounting point plates. If you look at any NASA SCCA rulebook section about bolt-in roll bars, and even other racing classes or racing organizations, the maximum surface area that we've seen is 9 square inches. Not only are these form-fitted and shaped exactly to each chassis that we offer, especially the 992 GT3. You can see we've got both of the bolting points in the back, so 2 on each side for the rear, and then 2 of the factory points in the front. So this plate design is actually very unique because with the 992, there is a lot of wiring back there. So it's very limited on space and fitment to add a plate underneath where it needs to go, touching the chassis. And real quick, some other features that people have come to tell us and give us feedback upon are that we include this main gusset, and then also in the back we have a full cross section in the rear. People seem to love the fact that when they look at the back of the car, it's very aggressive and very beefy. It just gives that very rigid look to the car and the cage. But yeah, let's go check out this GT3 and we can show you guys exactly where it mounts to. All right guys, so we've got the seats out, very easy, 4 bolts. As some of you may know, Porsche offers the roll bar as a factory option when you order the car in pretty much every country except for the United States. So you can see here, we'll show you guys the factory mounting points that are intended and purposely put into the chassis to have the roll bar mounted to. So once you expose this section of the carpet, you've got the factory bolts that go to this bulkhead, and these are the wires that I was talking about where the plate design was very crucial. This is for the front main hoop, and then on the rear, what's different from the 991 generation is that the holes come from factory pre-threaded. So on the 992s, it seems like the US cars, for some reason, the holes were not threaded, even though they are there and ready to be tapped for the correct bolt. So yeah, on our install, we provide a tap with every roll cage that you buy. Very easy to do. So let's get this thing in here. Alright guys, Leo and James got the cage in, made some very nice cuts. So that is one thing that you're going to have to make a personal decision on, whether you want to cut the carpet or just completely remove it. We forgot to include a little clip here, but obviously this is a very well built and put together car from Porsche. So even if you take off this aesthetic carpet, underneath it, it's still very clean and very good looking. But yeah, so now that the cage is in, and another few quick features that is unique to our cage is something we're very proud of on all of our models. So whenever we do the R&D, we are very, very meticulous about how close we can get to all the interior panels. Not only does that look better in our opinion, but in terms of safety, the closer you get to the actual chassis and the metal parts of the frame of the car, safer it will be. So as you can see, you know, all of these lines and gaps are symmetrical on both sides, and they're as close as can be to still be able to get the cage actually into the car and keep it in a functional spot. Lastly, before we put the seats back in, one thing that we get asked very often is obviously the harness bar height. So if you guys are thinking about doing harnesses, you know, it's a very crucial thing. We're going to be putting out its own video about it, is the harness bar to the seat angle. So every major FIA approved harness has a specific angle that has to be at, and that angle meaning, if you can imagine the seat being here and where your harnesses come through the seat, there's a specific angle or a range of angle that the harnesses must be at. So for Schroth, it's somewhere between 20 degrees and 30 degrees. Same for Seibelt and most of the major manufacturers. So, you know, this angle has to be right. So this is something that we can't control fully, but if you are having your cage and harnesses professionally installed by an experienced race shop, they'll definitely be able to get your seat height and seat stack to the correct position so that specification will be in spec. So we've placed the harness bar on the cage in a nice average that we've taken for every seat, for most of the major seats that people are going to be using for every different kind of car. Oh, and I almost forgot, guys, one last quick thing. As you can see, the design of our cages, especially for all the Porsches, everything is 100% reversible. Besides this one piece of the carpet having to get cut, nothing else gets cut or modified. So all your interior panels and everything stay as they should be, and then the cage can easily come out and it'll be like it was never there before. So yeah, we'll include some pictures, get the seats back in here, and send this customer on his way.